Are we live? Let's find out. I think we are. Let's mute that so I don't get an echo. Typically I have a little icon that says whether or not I'm live that pops up, and I don't see it right now. Looks like we are. Where are... Well, maybe it's this. There we go. Now it's up. Been sick for the past week, so I've got some tea to make this a stream where I talk and don't just cough the whole time. Okay. I think we're rolling. Got a little bit to cover today. I was trying to remember, and I could have just looked it up, and I didn't, so I was a little lazy. If I streamed before or after 1.8 update went out. I don't remember, so I'm going to cover the highlights of that one real quick, and then we'll jump into what is in the latest update and why it's in there. Because I think the update itself is a little misleading. But, all right, so to start with, and I've actually got a simulator that's working this time, which I cannot say the same for my last stream. I don't think I could get it to work at all, so I was just talking. Got my notes over here to the right, so I make sure I don't miss anything. First thing in the last update, which was a fairly minor one, but the global courses list is starting to grow quite a bit, both from courses I just wanted to add and from people requesting them. So it's getting there. All these courses, if you're unfamiliar with the global course list, are ready to go. All the information's in here. All you have to do is, so you'll have your course list here. Let's say Blue Ribbon Pines in Minnesota. You want to add it to the list. You just click add to list, and it's ready to go for tournaments. So the idea with the global courses list is to save you a little bit of time. But in the last update, I added locations, just so that was a little bit more clear, and also, most importantly, to make it easier to search. So I'm based in Utah. This way you can come into the search bar. It actually doesn't search by location. I don't know why I thought it did. So I got to fix that. But the locations are here, so you can at least see it says Utah. And obviously searching for the course names will work just fine. I actually know why it does that. That's an easy fix. In the next update, you'll be able to search for the location. I got to make a note of that now. This stream is actually just for me to identify problems in the app and write them down so I fix them later. Excuse me. All right, so global course locations were added here, so you can tell where you're playing. The way I've been adding locations in the global list is that if it's in the US, I add the state. If it is international, I add the country. So the Yarva course would be in Sweden. We got Finland, Norway. I think those are all pretty self-explanatory and pretty well-known courses. All right, so that was the global course locations. Next is minor, but the text on this resume button now scrolls. Typically, especially on smaller phones, the tournament would get cut off, so you wouldn't be able to see the full course name at the end, which wasn't great. So that now scrolls, so you can read the whole thing. Another minor thing was a bug fix regarding the entry fees. So typically, and throw at the pros. If you were to start a new event and make your selections and then at this screen before entering the score for a hole, you either intentionally or accidentally hit the back button, the app would just eat your entry fee. So as of the last update, that was fixed. It's refunded once you start scoring. So if you enter a score on the first hole, then the tournament's underway, and you don't get refunded the entry fee after that. But if you don't enter any hole scores, then you do get the refund. New sponsor names. So that was a pretty quick fix on my part, but I think a nice addition to the app. So previously this just was disc manufacturer, disc factory, bag manufacturer. This was a retailer, and then this was an apparel sponsor. I gave them all names, a little bit more personalized. So they all have names in here, and then same thing in the profile. Those names are all here. Show your progress as you get sponsors. It does specify, if someone's unfamiliar with this, what each sponsor does. This is the big one. This will give you bonus currency for each event. So if you haven't unlocked that sponsor in the app, I would recommend it. It's there to help speed things up a little bit. Last thing in the previous update was just updating the UI for the main menu a little bit. I made the background a little bit lighter so the buttons are easier to see. And then I think a lot of people who didn't progress very far in the app didn't realize that Tour Life was a feature that existed. And it does take a little while to unlock Tour Life in the app, which was intentional. I set it up to be that way. I still go back and forth in my head as to whether or not that's a good idea. But Tour Life is full Pro Tour seasons against the AI. So there are set events. There are 3 and 4 round events. You can play a shorter season where each tournament is only 1 or 2 rounds. But it works just like an actual DGPT season. You earn points based on where you place in each event. There's a tour standings. Being high enough in the tour standings gets you entry into 2 different playoff events and then a tour finale at the end. In the tour finale, you get a stroke bonus based on where you finished in the Pro Tour standings. So it is a full season. You get a lot of extra currency for placing well in those events. I think it's pretty cool. There's some other UI changes. Leaderboards look a little different for those events. All the tournament finish screens look different. Yeah, just a whole nother way to experience Tour with the Pros. But previously, if you did not have a pro subscription and have a tour card, and you get a tour card by winning a Q tier, if you hadn't done both of those things, then that button would never show up. So you would never see Tour Life on the main menu. I made it so that it's there, just so people are aware that that's a thing you can aspire to reach. Made this button a little clearer. This was a question mark previously, which I don't think was super helpful. I think this indicates a little bit better now that this is additional information in the support menu. But yeah, I think that about covered it for the last update. A lot of minor things. And then this new update. So most of this new update is not visible to users. But most of version 1.9 was me implementing a new system for handling in-app purchases. It's a whole new platform. It's through a third party now and not directly through Apple and Google, which is what it had been previously. And the reason for that is solely resides outside the app. So first and foremost, previously in the app, you would click this button to start a pro subscription, and that would just take you to Apple or Google's payment page. That's all it would do. With this new system, this now pops up this sheet, gives you a little bit more information on what comes with the subscription. First big change is that there's now a yearly discount option. I had implemented one in the past, but there were some bugs with it actually being presented in the app. So you now have the option to, instead of paying the 99 cents a month, just pay $9.99 a year. And that unlocks the pro subscription for the entire year for 12 months. So I have this system in. clicking the Become a Pro button on the main menu also pops up this same sheet. And then I also added the option to directly purchase currency in the app. So we have AM credits and disc bucks. I realized I don't think I ever actually called them in the app, but that is the name I gave them. And so you can now buy those directly. You can see I have quite a lot here, just for my own testing purposes. But you can now buy them directly in the app. Me adding these was not for the sake of a cash grab and trying to get money out of these currencies. Both of these currencies can be earned for free in the app without a pro subscription. If you want to buy these, you can. This is certainly going to help speed you up, especially early on in using the app. And especially for the people who aren't quite at the level to compete in open tournaments and throw at the pros. Buying the disc bucks here is a pretty viable option. You can only earn these from either winning, getting first place in amateur tournaments, or cashing in open tournaments. They're intended to be a little bit harder to get. So both of these new, I won't even call them paywalls because they're not walls, but new platforms for making purchases are in the app now. And the biggest thing this lets me do is it gives me more ability to track them on the back end. The reason I did that is twofold. First off, I guess I'll take a step back. Throw with the Pros this year will be sponsoring some in-person events. That doesn't necessarily tie directly to this, but part of those sponsorships, there'll be whole sponsorships, course sponsorships. I've already got a few tournaments lined up, all local to Utah currently, but I'm also going to be giving away coupon codes for the app in player packs, and I wanted to have more options other than just a free trial to the subscription to give away. So now I have the ability to give away codes for these individual currency purchases. So that was goal number one, is giving me the flexibility to also give away currencies and player packs for the events that I'm sponsoring as Throw with the Pros, as opposed to just free trials for the subscription. Second thing that I'm intending to start up, I mentioned it a couple times in email newsletters, is an ambassador program for Throw with the Pros. So the way I envision that looking is that I'll have a pretty small team of ambassadors to start with, ideally spread out a little bit across the country, but I'll have at least a few here in Utah. And the idea is that I'll throw a little bit of gear their way, and probably more importantly, and what the ambassadors will be a little bit more excited about, is that I intend to give each ambassador a code associated with them that other users can use in the app for either these currency purchases or the subscription. And then each ambassador would make a cut, a set percentage, which is still TBD, from each subscription or currency purchase that is completed using their code. Without implementing this backend, I had no way to track that accurately through Apple and Google. I don't know why mostly Apple on this one. I don't know why Apple doesn't make it easy to see all of the code usage that happens within their system. They kind of beat around the bush a little bit with giving you that information, to the point that if I tried really hard, there's aspects of it I could decipher, but it would not be accurate enough for me to actually report income to ambassadors. So another reason for having the backend is that it'll let me track code usage for those ambassadors, and then also give those ambassadors more flexibility for what their code can be used for. So now they could make a percentage off of currency purchases and not just the subscription. And then the third and final thing is I'm going to start running Throw with the Pros public rounds, at least here in Utah. I'm open to the idea of other people running them outside of Utah. I haven't approached anyone about doing that yet. Haven't run the first one in Utah yet. That's coming up probably within the next month. But the idea with that is that I'll just host a public round at a course and have everyone that's present use Throw with the Pros. We'll run a number of challenges through the app, and then give away prizes based on people who win those challenges. Everyone will get some automatic discount codes just for showing up. Kind of play like a shorter local league while using the app. And then reason for adding currency purchases is that it'd be kind of lame if the prize for everyone was just a 3-month free trial to the subscription. Now I can give away some in-app currency as well. And I'll also be giving away some Throw with the Pros gear, a couple discs. So it'll be stuff outside of the app too. But yeah, so there's event sponsorships, ambassador program, and Throw with the Pros public rounds that are all mostly planned and coming soon. And implementing this system gives me the flexibility to be a little bit more creative with those. What else? There's always some miscellaneous minor improvements and bug fixes in these updates. Typically don't list those out in the feature notes. This update included some improvements to AI scoring, made that a little bit more accurate. I think I do that with every update, but yeah, that was kind of the idea behind getting the system in. I was going to cut back on coding and Throw with the Pros a little bit, but I wanted to do the event sponsorships, do the ambassador program, and start running these public rounds, and quickly realized that I needed some additional firepower in the app to make those more exciting. So I plugged away at this update for the past few weeks. Yeah, this is live on iOS and Android. I sent out an email newsletter today about that as well. What else is coming with the app? I guess on this screen, I've got some new branding that's going to be coming for Throw with the Pros pretty soon. This is probably fairly close to what the new app icon is going to look like. I'll be wearing this hat or a hat that looks pretty similar in the tournaments I played this year. This is going to be the new Throw with the Pros logo. So I will make the app icon and social media channels reflect that. Try to make it a little bit cleaner. That'll be coming soon. I think the next app update will probably include that new branding. I don't think there's too much else. As always, I've still got my laundry list of features that I'm considering adding into Throw with the Pros. We'll see how quickly those come along. I think there's quite a bit in the app already, and I'm going to focus a little bit more right now on just making people aware of it. I think that's all I got in my notes. We'll wrap it up there. As always, if anyone finds this after the fact and has any questions about the update, you should be able to leave a comment down below. If not, you can always reach out to me at the Throw with the Pros Instagram or the Throw with the Pros website. Both will be linked. Both are linked in the profile for this channel. You can subscribe to the email newsletter there as well, and I always send out updates for every new update that goes out in the app or any other news I have coming. Most of the updates on the ambassador team will be going through those email newsletters. I'll be creating a separate group in that just for the ambassador team, and that's how I'll be sharing information. That will be fairly limited at first, depending on how it goes and how scalable I can make it. That team might grow, but I am probably only going to start around 4 to 5 ambassadors. So if that's something you're interested in, be on the lookout for a application request to go out. I'm probably not going to go through the trouble of putting together a Google form. It'll probably just be a email or DM me on Instagram with responses to a few prompts. I think that's about it. Yeah, thanks anybody who finds this after the fact, and we'll see you in the next one.